Hello friends, in this video lecture, let us discuss about aircraft propulsion system. So when we talk about aircraft propulsion system, there are different types of engines. So we use it in the aircraft. So generally we can say as the propeller based, one is propeller type engines. Second one we can say as jet engines. Basically it is a turbine compressor combination. And then third one we can say there are no driving units like ramjet, and here no moving parts. And then another one we can say ramjet, that means rockets. So these are the types of engines we use it for the aircraft propulsion system. And why do we have different types of propulsion, that means engines? So that is a question. So first of all, if you want to answer that question, then we need to understand the Newton's first law of motions. So whenever we see Newton's first law of motion, we know that object will remain in rest or object will remain in the uniform motion unless it is disturbed by any external force. So we say that that object should object will remain in rest condition as long as there are no any disturbances, external disturbances, or object will be in a uniform motion unless there are no any external disturbances. So in that case, so when these engines or the aircraft propulsion systems must serve two purposes. So the two purposes should be fulfilled whenever we choose the aircraft propulsion system. So what are the two purposes? So we have two purposes of the aircraft propulsion system. One important purpose is first thing is, so we can say as the it has to keep the aircraft is in the steady position, steady condition. So as per the Newton's first law of motion, we say that any object will remain in rest or will remain in the uniform motion as long as there are no any external disturbances. So according to that law, so then we must have the steady state condition should be maintained. So whenever we are using the aircraft engines, so whatever the engines we use, so then in order to achieve the steady state condition, nothing but here we can say for having the cruise. Okay, so for maintaining the cruise, we can just say that there will be a so that means in this condition we can say that thrust will be equal to drag. So we all know that aircraft, that means the engine is producing the thrust to overcome the drag. So drag will be associated, drag will be generated whenever the aircraft wings are producing the lift. So drag is unavoidable. So anyway it is okay, unwanted, but it cannot be avoided. So whenever the aircraft wing is producing the lift, the drag also will be the consequence. So in order to have the crucial condition, then we say that thrust, whatever the thrust is produced by the engine, that should be able to overcome the drag. So whenever we say thrust is equal to drag, so that condition we call it as cruise condition. So that means cruise is nothing but after the climb. If any aircraft is there, then the aircraft will go for the first initially it will be on the taxiing. After that, they will go for the climbing. Then that means during the takeoff. Then after the climbing, then it will be reaching the from here after climbing, and then after some time it will be reaching the cruise condition. So in the cruise condition, we say that thrust will be equal to drag. So this condition has to be achieved. So most of the aircrafts, we can say that passenger aircraft or cargo lines, cargo aircrafts and all will be maintaining this cruise condition for longer duration. So those kind of condition also we should have the engines which will be whenever we are maintaining this condition, then what will be the consequence? So that we have one thing called propulsive efficiency. So the propulsive efficiency will be the important concern. That means whenever we talk about propulsive efficiency, the propulsive efficiency will have a impact on the fuel consumption. So whenever we say propulsive efficiency, so this propulsive efficiency is nothing but thrust power divided by propulsive power. So whenever we say this propulsive efficiency, this is nothing but this. So this propulsive efficiency is matter of the fuel consumption. So it will be when we have a cruise condition, then this propulsive efficiency will have a good. That means we will have a good propulsive efficiency. We can have a, that means best propulsive efficiency. So whenever we have the aircraft is undergoing any kind of that means changes in the condition. Say for example, the aircraft is undergoing climbing on takeoff, during the takeoff and climbing, and then whenever it is coming for the landing. So or other like say for other example, other flight condition like fighter aircraft and all will be going under that means various maneuvering operations. So during those conditions, the aircraft will not be in the cruise condition. The aircraft will be in different conditions. So that means it will be keep accelerating or decelerating. So it will be going in the unsteady conditions. So it will not have a steady conditions. So during that condition also, we need to have the different types of engines. So for that condition, the engines which suits will be consuming, or we can say that more fuel consumption. Okay. So whenever we say aircrafts are performing different maneuvering operations, then like fighter planes, or if they are performing, or during the air show, if any aircraft is performing different operations, so that time and all the fuel consumption will be very high. So the second purpose of the aircraft propulsion system is to have the, that means the aircraft to make the aircraft to undergo any acceleration. That means for the different operations. So because like aircraft like military aircraft or fighter aircraft, so those aircrafts and all will be undergoing different maneuvering operations. So those time and all we cannot see, that means we cannot see this condition, cruise conditions. So that means for my whenever we want to have the different maneuvering operation, so that time what happened, the propulsion efficiency will be much lower. So it means the fuel consumption will be very high. So that is the reason. So whenever the propulsion efficiency is lower, then you should understand that that engine is consuming more fuel. So that means second condition, we can say that we have to, for accelerating the aircraft, so we must have the, for accelerating the aircraft, then we must have one thing called excess thrust. We must have one thing called excess thrust. So excess thrust is nothing but so thrust minus drag. So that means the difference in the quantity of the thrust minus difference thrust and the drag, that quantity will be important. So then only the aircraft can undergo any different operations other than cruise, because whenever we are having this condition, then it can maintain only the cruise condition. So we cannot, that means we can say this condition also we can call it as steady level flight. So that we can see at the later stage that I will explain. And so for accelerating the aircraft, so we must have the difference in quantity of the thrust and drag. So if this quantity is larger, then what happened, we can say that your propulsion efficiency is lower. So then if the quantity is that means the difference in quantity is smaller, then propulsion efficiency will be somewhat significant. So that means propulsion efficiency will be somewhat better. So this condition, in this condition we are having best efficiency, we are achieving the best propulsion efficiency, and in this condition we are achieving that means very lower efficiency, lower propulsion efficiency. That is based on the difference in quantity. How much is the difference in quantity? If the difference in quantity is larger, then propulsion efficiency will be lower. So that is what we have to understand. So then if the difference in quantity is smaller, then the acceleration also will be smaller. Okay, so in the case of fighter aircraft or a military aircraft, so if you want to perform different operations, then acceleration is very, very important. So that condition, if you are having very small difference, then that different maneuvering operation may not be possible. So that is okay, so we have to keep it in mind. So in that case, the fuel consumption cannot be taken as the important. So just we have to see how efficiently we are that means performing different maneuvering operation. So that is what will be considered in the case of fighter aircraft or military aircraft. So in those conditions we have to use a different type of the engines. So that is what we have to understand in the basic aircraft propulsion system. So let me stop it at this point.